The following is a Candlepin Stars and Strikes rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable programs.
WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Oh, look at this. Look at this! He got it! Ready for a spin!
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is sponsored in part by Washington Toyota Dodge Nissan. Looks good.
Looks good! That's good to go! It's a goal!
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
And welcome again to Championship Week here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Hope you enjoyed our first doubles championship of the season yesterday. And, of course, now we'll get our first qualifier, Dan Murphy, for our singles tournament of champions coming up in the spring.
And it's going to be a good one, no matter which one comes out on top this time, Bob Kelly or Mark Gregory, both quality Candlepin bowlers, and I think it's going to be a great finish here.
In this series, we have had 3 400 triples already.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we had 2 more today.
All right, let's meet our 2 bowlers, our 2 finalists, in fact. Our top 2 seeds coming into this sequence. First of all, our number 2 seed from Beverly, Massachusetts, Mark Gregory.
Okay, Mark comes in averaging 124. That's a high triple of 480, and his roll-off score 698.
And last week, I should say, he had a 410 to knock off Tom Morgan, who had won the first 2 shows of this series. So now Mark tries to make it 2 in a row to win the whole thing against our number 1 seed from Stoneham, Massachusetts, Bob Kelly.
Okay, and Bob comes in averaging 123, high single 210. And his roll-off score, the top roll-off score, at 704.
Okay, big money on the line, of course, today. Championship week, $500 to the runner-up, $1,000 to the winner. And, of course, the winner also becomes the first qualifier to our Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Also, $100 on the line in our bonus ball contest. That'll be a little bit later on. We will start our championship match right after this timeout. Don't go away. Down to the final 2 for a championship week here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Mark Gregory, our number 2 seed, coming off an impressive win last week with that 410 to beat Tom Morgan, faces Bob Kelly, who was the only guy to get a 700 roll-off score, 704 for the 5 games, so that's an average of just under 141 per game. So that sets you up for our first championship match of the new season, and Mark Gregory will start it for us. And starts it with a strike.
And you see the replay of that, just stripping that 4-pin finally.
Get in!
Another pocket hit, this time Brooklyn side, and how about that?
Boy, going down, we thought maybe a double strike, and then he was hoping at least for a spare leave. He gives himself the 7 and the 8. I guess there could be a debate whether or not it's a spare leave or not, but not one I'd want to shoot at.
Ooh, gave it a scare.
I don't know if we mentioned the significance of the final outcome of this match as far as the score goes either. 'Cause you know I don't listen to every word you say, so you might have mentioned this already. But the winner of this match not only wins the $1,000, but tournament champion qualification, and then his score is very important because we seed the tournament champions according to their winning score in the championship round. So the bowler who does eventually win this match would want to win it with a big score if possible.
Well, it's probably just as well that you don't listen to everything I say, because then you probably don't hear the bad stuff I say about you. So.
No, those things I do hear.
Bob Kelly in his first box is firing on the spare chance.
Personally, I'll be glad when this ladder's over because I want to get one of those 4-week colds.
Yeah, one of those TV colds.
That's right. It never seems to leave you.
I don't know anybody who hasn't had a cold this summer and fall.
4 horsemen right for Bob Kelly. 1, 3, 6, and 10.
No, again, misfiring. Watch out, though. Coming back. Bob Kelly with the 10 bucks. A couple of them.
I'm sorry. Like father, like son. Probably went right over the viewers' heads, so we just won't dwell on it.
Let's hope so.
Well, Cam Kelly was in the audience for a few minutes.
Well, Cam watches a lot of TV.
That's right.
They only repeat what they see.
That's
you
right.
know? Mark Gregory for the spare? No. And the 10. Mark Gregory from Beverly, Mass. in this all Bay State final. Bob Kelly from Stoneham. Bob Kelly making his 23rd appearance here on Stars and Strikes. Mark Gregory just his 3rd. And actually last week was Mark's first win here on the Winds.
That's right. His first W, and an impressive one it was. Another mark for Bob Gregory in the 4th. 1 spare and 1 strike now. Bob Kelly still looking for his first mark.
Bob on lane 32, and again off target. A little trouble finding the range here in the early going.
I was talking to Bob before the match, and I asked him how he did in the first Pro Tour. Wow, look at that. The 1 and the 3 went straight up in the air and came right down instead of driving its way back into the 8-pin. And he said he had a tough Pro Tour, and he's been playing mostly softball all summer, so it took him a while to get back in the groove. And then just a week or so later, he throws 700 for TV Finals. So,
where was the first tour event?
First tour event was at Academy Lanes in Bradford. And I haven't got the final results. Word has it that Tommy Olsta, I think his name is Tommy Olsta.
I think I've heard of him.
Won the first one. But I will report to you in the weeks to come who wins on both the men and the ladies' side.
Yeah, because of our taping schedule, obviously, we don't always have the scores up to date depending on the dates of the tournaments, but we will pass them along to you as best we can during the course of the season, as well as some other bowling news of note. Keep you up to date on various things happening. Perhaps some of you who had a chance to visit the Hopkinton Fair had a chance to see Dan Murphy.
That's right.
Live and in person.
Or at the Deerfield Fair.
Mm-hmm.
I was still live.
It's all right, Greg. Get 10 now.
And if you missed it, try to catch some of the fairs, and especially the Hopkins and Deerfield, because Danny LaRochelle from King Lanes has a great office trailer with a working Candlepin machine and a 20-foot replica of a Candlepin. It's really neat to see, especially at night with it lit up.
Kind of like a Candlepin blimp.
Yeah, something
Except it's
like you'd
anchored to the
see
ground.
yeah, something like you see at the Macy's parade or something.
Boy, Mark really turned that one over from right to left.
Don't force it.
Oh, nice effort leaving the 10-pin.
Great effort indeed.
And the 9. Take another check at that spare try. The ball wrapping right around the 10-pin.
Oh, Bob Kelly working on a spare in the 4th.
Kicks out the 7, but not the 10. The one he wanted. Let's see. No, just missed the 2-pin. Trying the cut shot. And it's an 8. 9-pin lead for Mark Gregory after 5. He got off to a quick lead last week against Tom Morgan and then just built it from there.
Half Worcester left. 2 and the 8 pins are gone.
Not quite. Leaving the 5-pin. By the way, our next taping for Candlepin Stars and Strikes here at Park Place Lanes, a week from Tuesday, November 9th. So if you'd like to join us, we start about 10 o'clock in the morning or so, give or take. And we're here all day long till about 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. So for any or all of that time, if you're going to be in the neighborhood of Windham, very easy to find, Route 28, just off Route 93, exit 3. Again, a week from Tuesday, November 9th, here at Park Place Lanes. And the spare, Mark Gregory. His third mark. We'll have another peek.
It's 2 spares and a strike now for Mark in his first game. Gives him 83 in the 7th plus the bonus ball.
Only 3 on the fill.
And again, the 10-pin costs him another mark.
Mark Gregory last week left pins standing in only 4 of his 30 boxes. He had 10 or better in 26 out of the 30 boxes. He's 6 out of 8 so far, with a 96 through 8 this week. Bob Kelly so far just seems to be a little too full or a little too wide every time.
Get that timing down.
That pin will not count, that 10 pin, because the ball did not hit anything on the way through. So that'll be a 7 box for Bob Kelly. If the ball goes through the plate pin deck without striking either a standing pin or a live piece of wood, and the ball hits the curtain and the curtain snaps forward and knocks any pins down, those pins do not legally count. You do see that happen from time to time, especially when you throw the ball hard.
Yeah, I haven't seen it happen too many times.
Bob was trying to make a very delicate shot there and slipped by and winds up taking a 7 box, a pair of 7s, and a 17-pin lead for Mark Gregory.
Wow, that was a good-looking ball going in, but he's looking at the 4, 7, 5, and 9. No wood. There goes the 5 and 9. Still looking at the 4, 7.
Whichever one of these bowlers winds up the winner today, they'll be making their first appearance in the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. And for Bob Kelly, that's kind of a surprising stat with all the times he's been here.
Right.
Hasn't been able to break through yet.
He's got a record of 12 and 10. Is that correct?
Yep.
It's 22 different times he's been with us.
Good mix that time for Mark Gregory. Single pin setup, the 2.
Spare in the 10th.
We've had 5 different tournaments of champions, 5 different winners. Bob Moran in 1989, Paul Berger in 1990, Pat Pay was the winner in 1991, Mike Morgan won the 1992 tournament, and the 1993 champion was Peter Flynn, who happens to be in the crowd watching this match. An 8 on the mark and a 124 for Mark Gregory in his opening game. Well, 2 big marks for Bob Kelly would bring him close. It would not give him the lead. He'd need a double strike in order to take the lead here after game 1. But there is 1 mark, his second of the match. I'm sure Bob is happy to have that, the way things have been going so far. Takes care of that one.
He'd like a big fill on another one here to close the gap a little bit and gain a little confidence in himself. Again, when he hits the head pin, it seems to be flush, and that's only 5 on the spare. 2, 4, 3, 6, and 10. There goes the 3.
So Mark Gregory will have the lead after 1. It's a 9-box for Bob Kelly. 124 for Mark Gregory, 103 for our number 1 seed, Bob Kelly. 21 pins the lead. We're back with game 2 and details on our bonus ball contest in a minute.
And
Game
now
2
Bob
now.
Kelly will get us going in game number 2.
And a little mix for Bob, but not quite enough. Not the mix he wanted.
So that would to hit and turn a little bit, and let's see, may have enough an angle for the 10 pin. Well,
Yes. Sweeps it over. Three marks for Bob Kelly. 4 so far from Mark Gregory. Now Bob kind of turned away from that ball as soon as he let it go. Didn't turn out too badly considering. Got a lot of wood on the deck here.
he's got to catch that head pin. He's got a chance. Wow.
Boy, not much happened there. It looked like that would carry with a hit on the head pin. But instead, it's an 8-box. Next week, of course, next weekend, we start brand new series. Saturday at 12 noon, our new time on Stars and Strikes doubles. Saturdays at noon now here on the Winds, right after John Habib and Tom King with Sports Wrap. And here on Sundays at noon, right after the high school sports review, Stars and Strikes. And we'll be starting brand new 4-week series next week. Hope you'll be able to join us. Happy Halloween, by the way. Hope if your town is doing trick-or-treating tonight that you'll take extra care to watch out for the kids when you're outside. Big spare for Mark Gregory in the first.
Great shot by Mark Gregory. Just catches enough of that and gets some sidewall action for the 3-pin. Like, do these camera people, they wear the masks all year long?
Yeah, you've noticed that.
I
Yeah.
noticed that, yeah.
Yep.
Light hit for Bob, 7 on the spare.
Saves a fortune on Halloween costumes.
All there now. Go get it.
5, 8, and 9. Triangle in the back of the pack.
7 and another spare for Mark Gregory. I have to be well rested for tonight because I'm going to be staying up late. I'm going to be at a midnight basketball practice later on tonight.
Oh. After the trick-or-treating, they let them go play basketball. Oh, those college kids.
Midnight tonight, first legal time to have official college basketball practice.
Now, is that just to get you in the mood, the team in the mood of doing it?
Oh yeah, it's a terrific promotion.
Yeah.
A lot of schools do it. The one I'm attending, emceeing, in fact, is down at Boston University. It's a great promotion. You get everybody to come in. They give away a lot of prizes, trips, and dinners, and so forth, and have all the players come out. It's not a real practice. It's more of an exhibition more than anything else. You introduce all the players, have them go in, slam dunk a couple, and
Get the crowd up for it.
Get everybody in and out in less than an hour. It's a neat promotion. A lot of schools are doing it. Of course, it was all begun with the basketball powerhouses because teams like Kentucky, North Carolina, if they do it, they can have 20,000 people show up.
Same first ball in there, Mark.
Bob Kelly with a spare in the fourth.
You see Mark Gregory's total last week, 410. Got to get in gear this week for it if he's going to do it, but he doesn't need breaks like that, the 4, 5, and 10.
This would be a heck of a shot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure would. How about a heck of a shot?
Ooh.
Whoa.
That close to making our highlight reel.
And waking this crowd up.
I think they're feeling the tension of the first championship of the year.
Let it go.
Let's take another look at that attempt. Boy.
5 into the 10 and back and almost getting the 4.
Ball on left. Get in there.
Oh, big pocket hit that time from Mark Gregory. Leaves this solid 7-pin. Keep an eye on that wood. Oh, no. No. Thought maybe it would freeze. Now it's on the move again.
Right at it now. Right on the face. Put a hot on it.
Mark Gregory with a 32-pin lead, but opposite a spare here in the fourth by Bob Kelly, and he's going to have to wait it out now for this wood. This has got to be a little unnerving, especially on a single pin.
Right at it.
It's certainly not going to be a factor in the shot.
Make it go.
Oh, but he's right on top of it, though. Good concentration from Mark Gregory. A spare up for each bowler in the fourth. Back with the rest of game 2 in a minute. Bob Kelly working on a mark in the fourth. Trails in the match. Big fill this time, 9. No.
Thought maybe Bob was poised to make a little run at Mark, but that would have been a big one, making it 2 in a row. It's just a spare 9-10 to show for that. 61 at the halfway point, second string.
Only once in this match has either bowler been able to put marks back-to-back, and that was Mark Gregory. First 2 boxes of this game.
1, 2, 4 left for Bob. Left side of the lane for the left-hander.
Yes, indeed. Spare in the sixth.
All right, relax up there, Mark. Come on.
His 5th mark overall in the match.
Nice, slow work. Slow and left. Slow and left.
Mark Gregory on a spare of his own.
Wow.
Oh, my word.
Wow. What is that?
A mess.
That goes, Mark.
The 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, you got to shoot for the triangle, I think. You probably could play the wood and have it snap, but I'd go the 3 pins in the corner on the right-hand side if you can and try to dance it across. That's what he's trying to do.
That wood is out a little ways in front of the 7 and 8, but not enough, I don't think, to snap it over. Drives it straight back for the 9.
Let's get that right pocket. To the right side.
Mark has added 6 to his lead here in this middle game. He leads by 27. He's opposite of Mark here, though, in the 6th.
Slow ball.
Just can't believe that Bob Kelly's not going to make one serious run before this match is over with. But not that Mark Gregory's not going to make one of his own. So right now it's a manageable lead this early in the match, but you wouldn't want to get too far in hand. The way Mark Gregory's been throwing. Now that time he slipped by 2 pins there, the 4 and the 7.
Let it go and grab 10. Come on. Slow and left. Slow and left.
9 box for Mark, so here's a bit of an opening for Bob Kelly.
Forget about it. Slip with the ball.
It's that whopping high single of Bob Kelly's 210. Oh, he wants that 5 to go, and then the 7 is going to go.
Bob will wait. He's a patient guy. He'll wait for them all to fall down.
Pin was really spinning. You had a tendency to think it was going to hit one of them, but hit the 5. The 5 fell into that same piece of wood, and then the piece of wood ran over and cleared out the 7 pin for the strike on spare.
That's the first strike of the match for Bob Kelly, and he almost came up with a double.
Ooh, he's going to have a tough piece of wood, though. He's going to have to be up the right-hand end of the wood, above the red line. Oh, not quite enough.
And the 9 box. 109 through 8. Bob gets 2 marks back-to-back, though, with the spare strike.
Without a mark here, Mark Gregory's lead would be below 10 pins. It's opposite of strike 9 by Bob Kelly.
There you go. All right, run him down. You know. Yep. Slow. Right there.
Got a chance.
Oh,
no,
boy.
on the 10 pin.
No luck at all there. Buried it right in the 1-3 pocket.
That 6 pin brushed right next to the 10. 10 box instead. And all of a sudden, the lead is down to 7.
Don't worry about it. Keep it slow and go. Come on.
4-7 and all kinds of
Careful with it.
fallen timber in front of it.
Which may, well, we'll wait and see. Depends on which one he hits.
That's right. First look, you would say would be no problem, but you never know when it's that far out in front. He happens to cap one of them, it's a whole different story.
Carries it with a spare in the 8th. One of our participating sponsors for this series here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. Come to Salem and save. Right on Route 28 in Salem, New Hampshire. Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. After the half Worcester, Bob Kelly goes right back to the same spot. And it turns out to be a 6 box.
A little disappointing for Bob. 115 through 9. I was going to say he was going to try a shot at the 4 horsemen. Now the head pin goes down, and now I don't like the looks of that wood. Let's see. Throws it hard enough, though. No. Gotta think that the second piece of wood caused the 7 pin not to go down.
It's a 10, a 125, 228 through 2 for Bob Kelly.
Keep them all slow and follow through.
A couple of open frames for Mark Gregory to work on, and he's working on a spare. And he almost puts a strike on it.
Put a hawk on it now.
Big 9-pin drop. Sets himself up for another mark. He can clear out the 3-pin. More importantly, build on a lead.
There you go.
He's there. He's been very accurate for the most part on single pins throughout these 2 weeks.
Lead had dropped to 8. Now let's push back up to 21 and climbing.
Set up.
This time 7. The 5, 9, and 10. The wood is out front a little bit. I don't know if it's out far enough to carry the 5-pin though.
Well, it's rolling back. I think he might be able to take a piece of the wood and then have the ball deflect into the 5. He's got a shot. Oh boy, left the 9.
Well, that changes the picture considerably, that miss there. That will leave the lead under 30 going into game 3.
Good 10.
Making it a little bit more manageable for Bob Kelly. We have completed 2. Mark Gregory at 256, Bob Kelly at 228. Last string to decide the championship after these words. Mark Gregory to start game 3, our championship match. One of these two gentlemen to advance to the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. It'll be a first for either one of them. Mark will shoot at the 3, 4, and 6 with wood.
And trying to negotiate that wood to roll back a little bit. It's back far enough so it would help the 3-pin jump left if he was on the right-hand side of it, or even directly on it, like that, almost.
9 marks so far for Mark Gregory. 8 spares, 1 strike. 6 on the board for Bob Kelly, 5 spares and 1 strike. 10 to start the 3rd game for Mark.
Still pushing 2 a little. Relax. All right, play it clean. Go. Come on.
The 3 and the 5, gotta watch out for the cap.
Yeah, he wants to get the 5-pin clean if he can.
That's it.
There you go, for the spare. Bob Kelly from Stoneham. His wife Marianne. His 4-year-old son Cameron. Bob works as a letter carrier for the United States Postal Service. Bob's been on the show a lot. His wife Marianne has been on the show. Bob's sister-in-law, Jackie Sterner, has been on the show. Taking a lot of money out of this place. Bob a little full that time.
And Marianne's a banker.
That's right. That's right. And Jackie still works for a bank too, doesn't she?
I believe so.
Oh yes, big spare. Bob needed that one. He can't afford to let any more boxes go by without at least matching what Mark Gregory does, because he's 28 pins down at this point. Bob's trying to clear a loose ball from the lane, but Tanya will go down and retrieve it. That'll be a little bit easier.
Well,
Bob's done his job. He's got the mark.
That's right. Well, we got just a minute. We're clearing that ball. I would like to congratulate Bob Francor from Nashua, who was inducted into the Candlepin Hall of Fame this past summer. Well deserved. Congratulations, Bob.
We expect to see him at some tapings.
He usually shows up now and then. Sure. We see him as a contestant because he still bowls, and he bowls pretty well. Has he had this leave before?
Yes, the exact same leave. I think he had wood the last time. Not that it made much difference.
Makes it easier then. Wood won't get in the way.
He was almost left with the 7, 8, 9, 10 there. You know you're not having a good box when the best you can hope for is a 7.
Right.
Mark gets out of that with a 9.
34, 5 on the spare, which is probably good news to Bob Kelly. He didn't fill it with an 8 or 9 and follow up with it on the mark. So Bob's going to get up there on the mark, facing 1 open frame. He would like 2. I don't know if Mark is going to be obliging, though. Doesn't look it. Well, he's going to have a real tough shot unless that wood moves. And he's got the 5 and the 9.
All right, read it.
I heard somebody say read it, meaning try to play the wood. You have to come up, I don't know, high or real low, one off the wall or turn it. It's going to go right, try to turn it into it. And you got benefit of the second piece. That was a nice shot.
Very difficult shot.
Absolutely. Yeah, just enough to catch that second piece of wood behind the 5, come back and get it. Bob Kelly working on a spare.
Trying to put something together. Marks consecutively have been rare in this match so far. Mark's done it. Mark Gregory has done it twice, both in the second game. And Bob has done it once, also in the second game.
It's not going to be an easy one to double up here.
Again, a reminder, our next taping session here for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, our Sunday show. The taping will be held on Tuesday, November 9th, here at Park Place Lanes in Windham. And when you come by to visit us, as Bob will look at a spare leave on the 3-pin, when you come by to visit us, don't forget to stop in and see Rodney Cronin at the Willow Tree North Restaurant. Outstanding food and drink. While you're here at Park Place Lanes, the spare in the 4th for Bob Kelly. We will be back for the rest of our championship match here on Stars and Strikes in a minute. All right, here we go. Mark Gregory leads by 30. Both bowlers have marks up in the 4th. This is the 3rd and final game of our championship match. $500 to the runner-up, $1,000 to the winner. And remember, we're keeping half an eye on total pinfall, too, not only for the win, but also for those scores that will be posted for the Tournament of Champions.
Boy.
It's especially meaningful even early in the season to post a big score, because once you qualify for the Tournament of Champions, you can't come back again to bowl in a regular series. You're done for the year until the Tournament of Champions. So the winner of this match will not be seen again here on Sundays until the spring.
Possibilities we might see him on Saturday.
Right.
But he's banned on Sunday.
Oh my, spread eagle, first one of the match for either bowler.
Get the feeling this match is anything but over.
Mm-hmm.
Slow and easy.
Slow till and delivery.
Good 9-box after the spread eagle for Mark Gregory, but 2 opens, and Bob Kelly is working on a spare. Bob coming up short on the head pin, but it works for him this time. An 8
1
fill.
and 7. A couple pieces of wood in between the head pin and that 7 pin.
Yes, perfectly done. I don't know if Bob moved over any more than he normally does toward the right. It looked like he did to get a little better angle on that.
Lead is now cut to 23, and it will be reduced even more with this ball. If you were to get a big fill and another mark, well, let's forget the thought.
Bob had that one all figured out. He had 2 fingers up right after he released the ball. Now he just has to make sure he doesn't have a bad box. Trying for the 2 in the corner, settles for 1, and the lead will be 22 rather, with 4 boxes to go.
It's almost like a 3-mark deficit right now, so figure that way. Plus any mark that Mark Gregory would put on the board. Yeah, this is not going to be an easy one. 4 horsemen left, plus the 10-pin.
Come on, just get a little lift on it. Everything else looks good.
Bob Kelly, being the #1 seed, of course, has last at bat, if you will. He'll hold the final 2 boxes of this match,
Come on, let's grab 3 here.
which could be critical if things get closer.
Do it.
Oh boy, you don't want those.
All right, right back.
6 box, 6 frame in the 7th. Gives him just 73.
Let it slide. You're thinking, don't think. Relax and throw it.
Ball work for you. Come on.
Back on the head pin.
Come on, up.
Oh, yes, big break there.
Watch out.
There you go.
It's all right. Put a hawk on it. This is your pin.
This is crucial mark right here. Could be the game winner right here if he gets this one.
There you
It's
go.
certainly going
He's
to make
on
it
it.
awful tough for Bob
Yep.
Kelly. He's opposite a 6 box.
Ball work for you.
Bob, a light hit. Look at that, though. He gets a terrific mix and then a terrible leave.
Moved that 10 pin a little bit, but it didn't fall. Leaves himself the 2 and the 10. And it's about as bad as it sounds, the 2 and the 10. It sounds like they're far apart, and they are.
Ooh, Bob going for the corner. I think that piece of wood that's angled into the channel was behind that other piece in the channel. Bob let that one get away. He was hoping maybe he could flip both pieces of wood on the deck, perhaps. Instead, it's an 8 box. He does gain 2 pins in count, though, and comes right back on the head pin, and now he's got a spare leave.
Still possible, depending what Mark Gregory does on his mark. He certainly can't afford to miss any now.
Yeah, you would think Bob would need this mark. Nope. That may make it tough. 9 box. Mark's lead is 21 plus his fill on this spare in the 8th.
Let the ball work for you. Come on.
So, of course, a big fill gets the lead to 30 with 2 boxes to go, and then you're talking about double strike territory. Six is the fill.
Rush number 2. You rush 2.
Look down.
1, 3, 7, 10, no.
All right, get the 10. Get all the you can. Come on. Relax it, baby.
That's it.
That'll be a 9 box for Mark.
Throw that ball right here.
98 through 9. Well, regardless, the winning triple is not going to be
Earth-shattering.
real high. But that's
Say it's-
less important than the win at this point.
That's right. It gets you there anyways.
Work up. Get over. Get.
My word. Finally, the 7-pin goes over.
That might have been enough to give him the spare leave that he needs.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Come on, let's go.
Wood on the right, ball off the wood into the 10. Hopefully he'll kick the other wood.
Right there.
There it is. Big mark right there.
All right, nice and slow and easy up there. Let's
Come on, 8, 9, or 10.
Let's
Throw
go.
that same first ball.
come on.
Mix.
108 plus 6 more is 114 and a 370 for Mark Gregory. Bob Kelly needs strikes, a bunch of them.
It's a 142.
Has to have one here. Does not get it. That will do it. Mark Gregory is our winner. And he will be our first qualifier for the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions in 1994. Our 6th annual. Mark will go in with a qualifying score of 370. We'll make a breakaway while Bob Kelly finishes the match, and we'll fill you in on the final score, chat with the bowlers, and give away some money, maybe even some bonus ball money too when we come back. All right, there's the final total. Bob Kelly putting a spare 6 up in the final box. Mark Gregory with a 370 taking the championship. Bob Kelly at 343, and Bob, a check for $500. Our congratulations. Some days it happens, some days it doesn't. This was one of the latter, I guess.
Well, Cameron called it right. You heard him earlier, so what can I say?
Well, thanks very much for being here, and do say hi to Cam for us, too, all right? Congratulations, Bob. Bob Kelly, and now Mark Gregory. For our bonus ball contest, $100 on the line. So let's see if we have a winner to wrap up this series here. And let's see, it'll be a 7. Let's see if we have a winner here. Dan digging deep. It is a winner, in fact, for Tinny, or is it Tiny? Tiny Drew. Tiny Drew from Concord, New Hampshire. Congratulations. $100 winner. We're going to be emptying out the big TV, so we hope you have your postcards in the mail. Get them in the mail this week. We'll get them in the TV for next week. And how about this? A $1,000 check for you, sir. $1,000 for Mark Gregory. And, well, the scores weren't as high this time, but you just need one more, I suppose. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. I was just looking for the win. If I could post a score, that was fine, but the win was the most important thing.
Not a bad double play. Tom Morgan and then Bob Kelly back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, 2 tough bowlers. I know them very well. I bowl with them in another league, and very tough competitors.
Well, at least on Sundays, we won't be seeing you again until next spring. You're already in. You're safe. Congratulations to make it in the Tournament of Champions.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mark. Congratulations. Very good job. 370 is the winner. And so Mark Gregory becomes the first. 5 others will join him as we move on this season.
It should be great, and I'm sure we're going to have some more same caliber as Mark.
All right, next weekend we start brand new series, Saturday at noon on Stars and Strikes Doubles, right back here Sunday at noon for Stars and Strikes from Park Place Lanes. For Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good week, everybody.